The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast. Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the Arsenal match review where, of course, we won 20-0. My name is Adonis. You know me as the Adelites on Twitter. Joining us today to discuss the game is Mickled Onions, which is Cookie.
Hello.
And Sam Ward, LUFC, which is Sam Ward.
All right, you bastards. Don't know where that come from.
I feel like you might be a bit Scottish, mate. Either that or it's a good impression.
Yeah.
Bet, eh?
Are you Scottish, Sam?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. You're
Some really
Scottish.
angry Scots.
You're actually Scottish, but you've been putting on an incredibly good Leeds accent.
Hey, I can do many accents, mate. Whatever you want.
Okay, so how was that game? First thoughts.
Primarily, I've got positives to take away from it. I thought much better in possession aside from the odd ball out from the back. I thought primarily Koch and Ayling. Koch.
It's like the H in home.
Sound like I'm gagging on one when I say that, mate. But yeah, him and Ayling really seemed to struggle, like just stray passes out from the back first maybe 15 minutes. Then I thought, and Koch, to be honest with you, just carried that on throughout the game. But picked up, obviously, after about 15 minutes. Thought we just came into the game and dominated from there. I think just loads of positives to take away. Rodrigo back looked classy as when he came on. Phillips just showed how much control he gives us in that role he plays. I thought Klitsch again was really good at finding space. And I think on another day you win 3 or 4-0. And today, unfortunately, we just, you could have put it a yard from goal and we'd have fallen over at ball and it'd have, it'd have been offside even though we were a yard onside. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of game. And Alioski was weirdly calm and managed to get someone to headbutt him, which I quite enjoyed, and really wind up Tierney at the end. So yeah, I thought there were more positives to take away than out, and all of us here would have taken a 0-0 against Arsenal if this were 10 years ago, let alone now. So pretty happy.
Well, it certainly wasn't a drab 0-0. Sam,
No.
first thoughts?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Before the game, I probably would have taken a draw. But like we were saying on the group before, I fully thought Leeds could have won that and probably should have won that today, obviously. But, first, say, 20 minutes, half an hour, neither team were passing it very well. I don't know, the pitch looked really heavy. Was it raining quite bad there before the game? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Both teams seemed to... I don't know if that was what it was for, but both teams seemed to struggle with that. And I thought once they got the man sent off in the second half, we actually struggled more because obviously Arsenal's whole shit changed there and they went back to the shit that we can't play against, which is just everyone behind the ball. And yeah, like Cookie said, we could still be playing now and wouldn't score. It's just one of the days, unfortunately. But positive to see Phillips back, even though I did absolutely shit myself when he went down with a little twinge in his knee. I thought that is just typical that. But he looked immense. He's just so calm and composed on the ball, and when he's tracking back and he's going out to the wings, tracking the wings and just ushering people out, really calm, collected. We really have missed that. And like what you said as well, Rodrigo back, it's been brilliant. But yeah, my initial feeling is disappointment, but I would have fully taken that before the game. So yeah, overall, I am pleased and confident for the next game. So
You touched on the weather. Was it the Battle of Agincourt? Was that the battle where it was like a bog? And
or the Somme, was it?
I can't. I'm remembering.
Cookie, how's your history? Anyone?
No? I'm just wondering why we're comparing a Leeds performance to previous wars.
It goes back about 28 years, I guess. The last time I even thought about that. But I think it was the French, and they had very heavy armor on, and we knew that it was going to be a bog, and so we danced upon the water and killed those froggies, like we should have done with Arsenal. Today.
Yeah.
If we could hit the target, but I was watching with me with the missus, and she's she's only been watching Leeds for about 4 years now since she met me, and I forced her to become a Leeds fan, which I didn't feel good about during the playoff semi-final
during the darkness
when we lost to Derby. And I said, yeah, this is exactly what being a Leeds fan is like. And then of course there was a World Cup, and again I said this is exactly what being an England fan is like. But then of course last year happened, so things changed a bit. But she said today there are so many games when we've played well, and we've been unlucky. It can't be a coincidence anymore. There has to be some kind of curse or something has happened. So I think we need to investigate this between us as a group, not necessarily on this podcast, but what the fuck is going on with this curse and how do we break it?
Was that like, was it Chelina who got someone in to break? No, it wasn't. A long time ago. Don Revy got someone in to break a curse originally.
Yeah,
and
then
Gypsy
I
Rose.
think Chelina had it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, mate. I honestly don't think we're cursed. My view is it's fine margins. You look at, was it Rafinha nearly scored a worldie that was like an inch wide. Then, it was Rodrigo, wasn't it? Rodrigo's first one was nearly worldie, an inch wide. Then you had Rodrigo hits the crossbar with the next one, and then Bamford's header is perfect, really, isn't it, for what you want a striker to do? Get it in the corner away from the keeper. And those, more often than not, you hope come out to whoever's following it up, and Rodrigo misses it by a tiny bit. And then you've got Rafinha, just sort of got a bit under his feet, didn't it? But, that post's obviously biased because it's Leeds. But I just thought we were a bit unlucky, mate. It's fine margins. We have got to be a little bit better with those chances in final third, and it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, which is I think there's going to be a level of Leeds fans needing to accept and get away from this sentimentality around some of our players that we love and we would really love to see succeed and take us to that next level, and probably needing to replace a few of them, not lots of them, but a few of them with people with just a bit better quality. We would all like to see Jack Harrison end up in England team, be a world-class winger. To me, he feels like he's good and he could be a bottom mid-table winger, but he's probably going to end up more like Stuart Downing than he is like John Barnes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to remember as well that a lot of these players are playing at their maximum of their possible capabilities at the moment. Like I don't see anyone improving that much more than they already have done. So you say, maybe 3 or 4 top quality signs in the next couple of years or so, and I think we'd put a lot more of them away. But yeah, you've got to remember as well. I know it's hard for me sometimes. I'm watching. I'm like, how are we not putting this in the scoring? But you do have to remember these players, where they've come from, the journey they've had, and a lot of them are at the highest that they can possibly perform at, I think. And yeah, it's just going to happen. Like Cookie said as well, fine margins as well. But yeah,
it's got to be something more than this. Come on, guys.
Do you think? What do you think?
Rafinha 3 yards out, and it somehow hits the post. I mean,
he slipped, didn't he?
It's some voodoo shit going on, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be something to do with Arteta's spray on hair. That is ridiculous, Barney. He's got absolutely ridiculous.
And
I don't know if he's got
his
something
sunken
in that
eyes.
hair that's doing something. I don't know what, but that Barney can't be real.
Maybe Fat Frank somewhere in a room with voodoo dolls of every Leeds player, and when he's watching the game, it's like stab him in the leg or whatever to make sure it doesn't happen. I could see him being that kind of bastard.
Must have had all the cock from us at game then.
Yeah, some of those attempted through balls from Cock. In fact, the final third passes in general were going astray a lot of the time, but we still managed. Does anybody have the stats on them? I think it was 24 shots or something, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was 24 shots. I think it was 24 shots, 66% possession.
Peasants.
So it was peasants, yeah.
Yeah, peasants possession.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
We were just all over him the entire game. So yeah, 66%. Oh, it was 25 shots, but only 4 on target. But if you count 3 as being on the post, will obviously not count towards being on target. So you're talking 7 out of 25 there or thereabouts. Some dodgy shots, weren't there? There wasn't a lot else in it.
Yeah.
But
So the thing is with man marking is that a lot of players aren't used to it. So when you've got some asshole, like, for example, Alioski, I love him, but I think
asshole.
playing against him, he would be an asshole. And when you've got a guy like that following your every movement, getting in your face, and just generally being Alioski, I think that's going to that could potentially rile the wrong person up who doesn't have
I'd headbutt him.
Right attitude. Yeah, there you go, Cookie. That's you. So that's.
But I'm not a professional footballer.
You're never going to get away with that. Yeah.
It was soft. It was soft,
but you can't put your head like that to someone. Like in times of VAR, I think the commentators mentioned it. Like maybe 10, 20 years ago, you look see where the ref's looking and then give him one. But you can't be doing it now. And as soon as I saw that,
the thing is,
I was
even without
happy.
VAR, even without it, mate. The modern game, people say it's soft contact or whatever, but I mean, that's been happening for the last 20 years, where if you take a little bit of contact like that, I mean, longer, really, if you think about it, primarily since, I mean, it kind of happened when Don Revie kind of brought that European style into English football, which is why Brian Clough hated it so much. So we were a bit, that's when kind of diving started and softer contact.
Because you'll have the guys from Arsenal Fan TV, and if there were people at the ground, that would be happening, and they'd be going, oh, he's soft, he's thrown himself to the ground. That's not a red card, and things like
monkey.
We've been robbed, and we should have won that if we'd have had 11v11. And I actually think that didn't help us. I really don't think that helped us. I think we play better against 11 because an Arsenal team with 11 players wouldn't have defended in a low block like that.
Well, they're defensive enough, aren't they, without being down to 10 men? I mean, whatever Arteta's taken from what he's learned from Pep, he's bastardized it. Like, I mean, he's ruined whatever he's learned because, I mean, they're just so dull to watch. I mean, as much as I'm proud that as a Leeds team we can pull a 0-0 out against Arsenal, this is not the Arsenal of the Arsene Wenger days, not even the poor Arsene Wenger days. This is a team who I think would be fortunate to probably finish top 6, who without Aubameyang would be lucky to finish maybe top 8. They're miles behind the top 4 for me. I don't see them coming anywhere close.
400 plus minutes now without a goal.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They rely too much on Aubameyang, and when he's not performing, what have they got? I mean, Saka, when he come on, to be fair, every time he got the ball, I was proper shiting myself. Every time he got the ball, he looked really, really dangerous. But apart from that, there was nothing really. I mean, who's centre mid for them?
Willian. Willian looked like he was taking his pension. Yeah, Willian's just gone there for a pension, and he ain't turned up last few games. I don't know whether that 400 minutes is the last time since they had a goal, or whether it's the last time they scored a goal in open play. Yeah, they just don't seem to create much, do they? And let's be honest, if you're going to create chances against a team, it's going to be us. I mean, I don't think any of us are shy about the way in which we play allows teams to counter, and they will always have chances. And for us to keep a clean sheet against a team, which I don't think will happen very often this season, without a calm and much better centre half in what I still believe is Ben White, and I'll need to get over that at some point in my life. I think that to not create chances against us tells you probably how poor you are offensively. And that was even moving Auber back to number 9.
I would tend to disagree with that. I would say that it's harder to create an amount of chances against us because without the ball, you can't do that. But I would say that it's easier to create good quality chances because we leave so much space in behind.
But aside from that really class, and you've got to give him credit for it, given that he'd had a quiet game relatively, Meslier's save one-on-one with, was it Saka? That was brilliant. Saka, brilliant concentration to be able to do that and not just dive into the ground. I think he had a good couple of defenders behind him, but
you don't pronounce the S, Cookie. Come on, it's Melier. But I've started calling him Smelly.
Smelly, all right.
Smellier. No, he was.
Because he's French. He seems to have a thing against the French.
He was nothing against the French.
Any French listeners?
Bonjour to you, French listeners. No.
Ça va?
He was scrambling around on the floor, wasn't he? It was a really good save. A really good save.
Really good.
Like Inspector Gadget arms just really extended there, didn't they? What pays him to be so big? He probably did like a breakdancing move to get to that, didn't he? He sort of like got on the floor and started shuffling, and then arms just suddenly grew longer. It was brilliant. But yeah, like I say, to be doing that after doing absolutely sweet fuck all for all the game, he's done well there. He has done well, because it must be hard as a keeper to keep the concentration, just watching every single person. Even Cooper and Cock at one point, basically on the edge of their box. And like to be watching that from a distance, it must just get boring. So yeah, fair
it's the difference. It's the difference in it between a class keeper and Mellier's not there yet. He has potential, I think, and he is the one who I think will improve year on year. But it's the difference between an okay keeper like Pickford, who shouldn't be near the England team, who makes a mess of everything whenever it comes near him, and keepers who play for top teams who might not get many chances on goal, and that concentration is what's required to make them absolutely class. I do think Meslier will go on to be a top class keeper. I really genuinely do. Maybe he won't be a world beater, but I certainly think he'll be a France reserve at worst, and certainly Leeds is number one for the foreseeable.
You could argue he's already there. I mean, when he gets the ball, he's so calm and he picks a pass.
Too calm sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean that. I prefer. But I prefer that, honestly.
Hard to understand why he was. Yeah, why was he in the France under-21s with Lorient, but yet can't get in the team for the France under-21s whilst with Leeds making saves like that and performances like against Sheffield United? He's not playing for him, no. They mentioned that in the commentary as well, that he's he can't even get in the France under-21 team yet. He's that good.
I don't care. I don't want him anywhere near that fucking French under-21 team. Thank you very much. He'll come back with a fucking baguette stuffed into his ear. He's got injured.
I am worried about Phillips, by the way.
I know. Has he just played on just to sort of, he wanted to play the rest of the game? He's quite an hard bastard, isn't he?
He's done it before, and he lives and breathes Leeds United. And I think that, not going to lie, I think that mural's probably given it a bit more. I think I've talked to you guys about the fact that I watch him and usually Leif Davis, Ben White, and it was Alioski the other day, and sometimes Paddy on Call of Duty Warzone. And someone walked into Phillips' house and was saying, blah, just giving him some grief in background. I think it was his mum and if he's got a sister or someone like that. He just turned around and he went, "You can't talk to me like that. I've got a mural in Leeds City Centre now." And he was obviously joking, but it was so funny. And I think he lives and breathes this club. And I think you could see he would probably fight through a knock. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him miss the next game as a precaution. But you don't go down like that if there's nothing wrong.
It did look to move, he seemed to move quite well on, after it. It took a little while to it, but then he was making some quite turns and stuff that I don't think you'd be able to do if you did have that knee injury. Either that or he's just a double hard bastard and he just played right through it.
He'll be all right. It was just Agincourt. I probably got the completely wrong battle, but I'm just gonna go with it.
Roll with it. You said it now.
Yeah. So I mean, we touched on it a bit before, but probably the last time any of us have seen an Arsenal team was the Arsene Wenger team that was just outstanding, and you talked about them only having Aubameyang, but to me Aubameyang is maybe as good as Lundberg, for example. I don't think he's anywhere near the standard Henry was.
No, definitely not.
And look at that team that they used to have with Pires and all of those players, and now if you look at them, they've got Aubameyang, and like you say, if he's not as good as Lundberg, then where are they really?
Who in that team could get even remotely close to Liverpool's first team?
Yeah, Saka, Aubameyang. Apart from that,
I couldn't see Aubameyang getting in Liverpool. Well, not with their front three. I mean, maybe over Firmino, but Firmino plays a very different, different role. And they've now got Diego Jota, who is obviously doing a very good job. He's in my fantasy football team, so he better be doing a good job right now whilst they're playing. So yeah, I don't know. Saka, I could see he's good, but who plays that position for Liverpool?
So I wanted to say, favorite moment of the game, Sam.
Ooh, favourite moment. I quite liked it when it kicked off at the end. I didn't really know what it was about, but I quite liked it when it kicked off at the end. I just wanted Alioski to go a bit more mad and just see, really antagonising. But I mean, obviously, football-wise, I don't know. There was just so many.
Hang on a minute. I didn't see that because I was setting up this, obviously.
Oh, did you? Yeah, Tierney just wouldn't leave Alioski alone. I don't know if someone said in the group. I don't know if anyone could shed any more light on it, but he just generally wouldn't leave him alone. He was just turning round and people are pushing him away. I don't know what that was about, but I would have loved Alioski to get right stuck in the middle of that. I would have absolutely loved that.
Yeah, because my favourite moment I was going to say was the general shithousing of Alioski, both to get it ended up getting Pepe sent off and the build up to that. But yeah, what you were talking about. Tell me if I'm wrong, but Tierney is Scottish, right? Plays at the Scottish national team. So Liam Cooper was walking back with him, and I think could tell he was agitated, which is why I think he walked with him. And he walked up to shake a few players' hands, and then he turned around to Alioski, and I think it must have had something to do with Pepe sending off. Yeah. And I think, to be honest with you, as he's walking off, I think Alioski's just said something, probably made his dolphin noises at him.
Started mooing at him
or blown him a kiss or something, I don't know. And it's clearly wound him up. So yeah, for about the next couple of minutes, I mean, to give you a clue, Donny, they weren't sure whether he might get sent off. They were looking at it because of his behaviour. I mean, there was no arm swung or anything like that, but he were doing that standard. I've seen it so many times. He used to play five-a-side. Yeah, when a lad puffs his chest out, tries walking towards you, knowing that there are five of his mates in the way and someone ready to hold him back.
And he's not going to push past
like one of those seagulls. You see there's always one seagull.
Yeah.
He was like, following the other ones.
Alioski's mental, right? So, don't get me wrong, I don't think Alioski could take him in a fight. What I do think I could imagine Alioski going full Dexter, finding out where he lives, injecting him with something to put him to sleep and chopping him into bits. I could see Alioski being capable of that kind of madness.
I was never into Dexter. That was too much for me. Far too much. I didn't want to see that. I think in the first episode, people were like, "Oh, you've got to try Dexter." And so I try it. First episode, chopping a human body up. No, thanks.
I mean, that's his thing, mate. That's his thing every episode. So if you don't like that, it's not going to be your thing. But how do you feel about Game of Thrones then?
Oh, I love Game of Thrones. Fantastic.
Oh, they just chop Theon's dick off and that's fine. And then it.
I know, but it only happened once.
I mean, it's a bit rapey as well, mate. There's a few shady things going on in GOT.
Yeah, I know, but seeing a human body parts being chopped up for no reason, like with no discernible reason, it just was not entertaining. With Game of Thrones, there's a whole world, there's intrigue, there's politics, there's the human relationship dynamic, there's the families and the infighting in the families, there's snakes and there's good people and the crazy shit happens. You know what I mean?
I feel like you really don't like Dexter, mate.
Like I said, I haven't seen it. It's
one of my wife's favourites. That's why I've seen it.
About 20 minutes of it, and I think if you're into that sort of thing, then there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry,
it's my wife.
I'm sorry to your wife.
But what if she wouldn't deny it?
You're doing the podcast, not her, so it's all good.
Yeah.
And she's not going to listen to this shit, is she? She's not listening to this shit.
Well, let's hope not.
Okay, so we lost 4-1 back-to-back. The international break came at a good time. I think there's no denying that. And now we've had a 0-0 draw, which we should have won by about 20-0. So how are we feeling now? We're feeling more positive? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Feeling better? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Having Rodrigo and Phillips back makes a world of difference. I don't think anybody can deny that. I'm excited to see Llorente come back at some point, and I think that...
Who's that, sorry, Llorente?
Yeah, he's the guy who they've bought for parts for Forshaw, but maybe might make an appearance if they're not suitable.
Forshaw? Yeah. Who's that?
He's a ghost.
Yeah. Again, no, I don't know either of them.
He's a ginger myth. He struggled to be fine ever since he grew a beard.
Yeah.
Rightio then. And final thoughts?
So my thing is just primarily positive. I think we looked okay going forward. The final ball needs to improve. But my overall thing is that we've hit the post a few times. It's fine margins. Getting a point against Arsenal is good. The primary focus is staying up. We're 8 points clear of 18th, having played the same amount of games. And I think we should all be very comfortable with that. We're far closer to the top end of the table than we are to relegation. Takes a couple of wins and we could easily back up in the top 10. I know we've got a few tough games coming, but really glad to see a clean sheet.
Sam?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, I'll second that. Look, like, really glad to see the clean sheet after the goals we've been conceding recently. Yeah, it's positive for me as well. You know, we should have won that. We really should have done, but we did control the game against Arsenal, which, you know, we would have taken before the game. We've got, I think, a winnable game. You know, Everton have dropped off a bit now. They lost earlier, didn't they, against West Ham? Was it?
They won, didn't they?
Did they win?
Richarlison. Yeah, we'll come back to
it. All right. So anyway, but yeah, I think you know we can do something against Everton as well. But it's all positive for me. Great to see people back. Fingers crossed, Phillips is fine for the next game. He'll soldier on through regardless, but he was key for us today, and I think that's why we defensively looked all right and quite comfortable. But yeah, positive for me. I would have taken that before the game, and like Cookie said, you know, it's all about staying up this season. So yeah, but you know, well on the way to that.
All right, and a few final thoughts from me are: I think VAR is now a good thing. Clearly, the referee didn't expect Arsenal players to be committing violent conduct against anyone other than another Arsenal player after the last week. But even though it was soft as shit, loved that bit of shit housing from Alioski, and seems like we need a little bit of shooting practice. But other than that, I feel like we're back. Yeah,
definitely. So just before, what do you think they do for corners, by the way? Because there's no set routine for them, and as soon as we get a corner, I'm just like, look, we may as well just give it back to him. Is he something specific that they're doing? Because one might go long, one might go short, one might go even shorter, and I don't know. Can any of you shed any light on that? Because I think we need to start utilising corners more. Yeah,
corners are the one thing in football that I don't think you can overthink. I don't think you should overanalyze, and probably the things that you shouldn't overthink and you shouldn't overanalyze, I imagine, are Marcelo Bielsa's only weakness.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that I picked up in commentary that nearly made me piss myself was when they said we had a corner. And they were like, Arsenal need to be careful here because Luke Ayling, he's great in the air. And I was thinking, when did Luke Ayling last score a header from a corner? That made the commentator say that. I was like, where's he got that from?
Maybe he's just seen the Huddersfield goal as many times as Luke has.
What, thought it was a header?
Well, it was in the air. The ball was in the air. He's leapt like one of those Agincourt frogs and mashed it into the underside of the crossbar like a Tony Yeboah special. Something like that would have been good. Mind you, we hit the framework enough times. Okay, lads. I'm going to call it there. So if you haven't heard of our project to put Christmas presents in the last food parcel delivery of the year to the LS11 area by our friends at Slung Low, it's called All Elves Aren't We. You can find that on Twitter at All Elves Aren't We. And please donate and volunteer if you can as well. That would be a fantastic thing to bring some cheer to some children this year. We are the Roaring Peacock. You can find us at Peacock's Roar. My name is Adonis at the Adelites. It's a very goodbye from me and a very goodbye from Mickled Onions, Mr. Michael Cook.
Goodbye.
And it's a very goodbye from Sam Ward at Sam Ward LUFC. Give him a follow.
He's frozen, hasn't he? That was on his can't get it up face.
Yeah.
Was it?
And it's a very goodbye from Sam.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. And thank you very much and goodbye. We'll see you on Wednesday. Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. You should probably give them a follow as they're more interesting than us. A very special thanks to Adam Elliot, Adam Warner, Barney Stuart, Cookie, Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's on your mind. I should have said no.